So anyway, I go to see this guy, John of God, and I see miracles. People getting up out of wheelchairs, people walking. Now, by the way, when you go see John of God, he's not really a person. I mean, like I say, I connect as a medium, meaning I get little messages. But this guy actually incorporates spirits into his body. I mean, like they come into his body and take over his body. I don't know if I like that, but anyway, he does this. He goes on stage and he goes, his eyes roll back. And then he's actually a spirit, like this great spirit. So you go up in front of him, you're actually going up to see this great spirit and talk to this being. The great spiritual being of the Expo. So you go up and you ask questions of this great spirit, and what happens is as you walk up, it changes your energy. There was one inside, but there's also thousands around. And as people come up, they're open to it. Now, you have to write down what you want. And they're like, well, that's kind of silly, isn't it? I mean, these are like all-knowing spirits. Surely they know what's wrong with me. But it's not about that. It's about that we have to ask. Because otherwise, the spirits are taking away our karma. They want to help us. They want to shift our energy, but we don't ask. How many times do we pray for somebody, ask for somebody, but we never ask for ourselves? Right? Lots and lots of you do that. We don't ask for ourselves. We don't think about it, right? When we want something spiritually, we have to say, I'd like some help. Our spirit guides, we all have one great benevolent spirit guide that's with us, and many other guides working with us. And often they're going, you know, I'd really like to help her, but she's banging her head against the wall, and, you know, she hasn't asked. So she maybe needs a little bit more financial stress. Or, you know, she's fighting with her mother-in-law, but, you know, she hasn't been asked, so I guess she needs a little bit of that stress, a little bit more, right? So they don't know what we want, what we ask for. They can't guess, they can't help us unless we ask. So tonight, we're asking, and that's why you're writing things down. You're asking, you're giving permission to the spirits, and I'm going to take your requests, and I'm going to put them in a triangle, and you're going to receive everything that's down on your list. If you're open for it, and you want it, you're asking, you're going to receive that. Beautiful, high, benevolent beings that can create miracles. Yeah, they can probably bring you a car. That's like a little tiny request. So go ahead and put down on your request. It's a way of putting out what you want. All right, so I go to see John of God, and you can go up and you can ask, oh, I've got a bad knee, I've got this problem, I've got this health problem. But you can also say, I've got this emotional problem, or a business problem, or financial. So I go up to him and I say, okay, I've got an issue with their business. Well, first of all, I go up and I say, well, I don't really need a whole lot. Like physically, I'm pretty good. I've got a few fibroids and stuff, but I like spiritual enlightenment. So he looks at me and he goes, surgery. I'm like, wow, surgery, that's a bit drastic. Okay, right, surgery. Have you seen these things where he puts stuff up people's nose and scrapes their eyeball and all that stuff? Right? Yeah, well, he does these physical surgeries, but a surgery actually means a spiritual surgery, where they change your energy. And you go back to your hotel room, and you're actually working with the spirits. They come to you for 24 hours, and they work with you. So they came back to my room, and I'm watching these people. I'm watching them come in and out, like people coming in. Hey, what you doing? Okay, you're working on that. All right, what's your name? What you up to, right? And they started working on my chakras. Now, how many of you have done Reiki or some kind of... Yeah, wow. So you guys all know about chakras. I've done Reiki. I thought, how did these spirits in Brazil know about chakras? But they were clearly doing that because they started on my base chakra, which is about family stuff. They start talking to me about my early life and telling me to release some things. Then they move up to my sacral chakra, which is relationships. And we spent like the rest of the day on that area. And I could see them coming in, and I saw this one guy standing in, and I said, well, you look like that spirit, the furrow, the painting in the casa of the spirit Dominacio. But the guy that I'm looking at the guy I'm looking at is completely bald, and the painting's got hair, and his beard's kind of like all over the place. And he says to me, well, you know, when they paint your picture, they try to be a bit complimentary, so they painted me a little bit more hair, but this is really me. So I actually had this little conversation with the spirits there. But the thing that really impressed me the most was one day I went up in front of John of God and I said, I'd like some help with a business. I have a little business in California I had a little issue with, and I walk up and I hand him my brochure. And he goes, okay, we'll help you. I'm like, that's it? Like, touch me, do something, tell me it's going to be okay, right? So I go off and I'm like, oh, I didn't really get anything, did I? Right? And you're supposed to go sit in this little meditation room. They do a little closing prayer, 5 minutes, and then you're out. And I'm thinking, well, I just, nothing. I got nothing there, no answers or anything. And I'm sitting there kind of cheesed off. And all of a sudden, it was like this white light came down from the ceiling and covered me with this most amazing, amazing feeling of love. So intense. I was crying and crying, but tears of happiness. And this voice came to me like there was a man standing there, not like mediumship, but like a man standing there. And this voice said, but what is your higher purpose? Meaning, don't worry about all this other stuff. This is where it's at. This is what you're striving for. This connection, this is what it is. This is what it's about. And I was so overwhelmed, and I just said, I want to share that with people. And the voice said, so be it. And I know it sounds really corny, but I feel like that one day I actually spoke to God. Of course, I went back every day after that and sat there and tried it again and again, and never quite got that same connection. I know some of you have had it. Some of you have had near-death experiences and had that. I know some of you are just like in the shower and you get that experience, but I think it's like a once in a lifetime that you get that amazing connection. So I came back, and I had my regular Monday night group, and I said, okay, I went to see John of God. I got some photos. Come over to my house. I'm going to share the photos. Nothing spectacular in my email. And about 5 minutes later, this lady calls me up. She goes, what was in your email? I said, what do you mean? She goes, I'm sitting on my computer. I opened up your email, and this white light came over me, and I was completely overwhelmed with happiness. And this feeling came in my wrist. I've had problems with my wrist for years, and all of a sudden, my wrist is working fine. Oh, that's kind of strange. Then I got emails. I got an email from a lady. What happened? I opened your email. I got this white light in my back, and I felt this feeling, and now my back's working. Another one said, I've been waiting and waiting for this check. I was really, really desperate. I opened your email, and then I went to the mailbox, and I got this check for 3 times what I was expecting, and I know it had to do with your email. And then I said, I don't know what's going on here. So that Monday night, normally I'd have like 20, 30 people. I had like 120, 30 people. Couldn't park everybody. And they're all coming up the driveway going, did you feel it? I felt this white light. I felt this white light in my hip here. And oh my gosh, I felt this healing. I felt this amazing thing. And I said, look, I don't know what's going on here, but obviously these spirits in Brazil want to work with us. And just the fact that you are putting it out there, you are receiving it. And we did a little meditation, and we brought in the energy. And I've done that over and over at events, and people feel it. They feel this connection. So when I say you're not here tonight to see me, you're here tonight to feel and experience these spirit guides, these beautiful benevolent beings that want to work with you. And if you're open to opening your heart and receiving that, because really healing comes from divine source. John of God says he doesn't heal anybody, it's God that heals. And the spirits say they help us. They help us to lift our energy, to open up our hearts. But really the real healing is ours by divine right. It's our true connection to divine.